Good evening. I'll call to order the Arvada City Council meeting for October 16, 2023. Call upon Councilmember Ferre for the reflection and pledge.
Yes, please join me in a moment of silent reflection. And now for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kristen Rush, if you'll do the roll call.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones. Councilmember Ferre.
Here.
Councilmember Pfeiffer.
Here.
Councilmember Marriott.
Here.
Councilmember Mormon.
Here.
Councilmember Simpson.
Here.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Jones from tonight's business meeting.
Motions to excuse Councilmember Jones. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Mr. Jones is excused from tonight's meeting. We have the minutes of October 2nd, 2023. Are there any changes or corrections? See no requests. They will stand approved as submitted. It's my distinct pleasure at this time to recognize Dr. Michele Haney. Doctor, if you'd like to come to the podium. I'm a little irritated that the city of Lakewood beat us to the punch. And, you know, you've already got up on the website that Mayor Paul and the Lakewood City Council recognized you. So I toyed with canceling tonight's proclamation.
Oh, no.
But not,
I'm glad you didn't.
I would never. I've known Dr. Haney for many, many years, and it's my honor to be able to do this proclamation. She asked if I dressed like this in her honor tonight, and of course I did. So
Yeah, of course you did.
Right. So let me read the proclamation. Whereas Dr. Michele Haney, president of Red Rocks Community College, announced her retirement effective January 2024, culminating a 15-year tenure with Red Rocks Community College and a 31-year career with the Colorado Community College System. And whereas Red Rocks Community College serves about 10,000 students across its two campuses in Lakewood and Arvada each year, and is one of the largest colleges in the Colorado Community College System. And whereas Dr. Haney, over her decades-long career as a college president, has rolled out cutting-edge academic programs, brought in wraparound supports for students, and forged deep relations with Colorado business and industry. And whereas Dr. Haney spearheaded a successful philanthropic campaign to build the Arvada campus and overhaul the college's academic and training options, and under her tenure, Red Rocks Community College became the first community college in the country to offer a master's degree, launching a physician assistant studies program that celebrated its first graduate in 2010. And the college was also an early adopter of Bachelor's of Applied Science degrees, creating programs in water quality management and secure software development that align with local workforce demands. And whereas Dr. Haney has, in recent years, positioned Red Rocks Community College as a premier regional partner, and in 2021, she helped launch the Mines Academy, which guarantees Red Rock Community College students admission to any four-year degree program at the prestigious Colorado School of Mines. And she also worked with Northrop Grumman to launch the first government-recognized cybersecurity apprenticeship in Colorado in 2019. Now, therefore, the Arvada City Council congratulates and thanks Dr. Michele Haney for her 15-year tenure with Red Rocks Community College and her 31-year career serving the Colorado Community College System, and wishes her only the very best in the future. Dated the 16th day of October 2023, signed by myself as mayor and all members of City Council. I'll bring this down. We'll ask you to say a few words, but I do want to indicate we really had to watch our pockets with Dr. Haney, because she was very effective at getting, and it's part of the partnership that we have with your great college, that the city is able to work with you all to really help bring a wonderful campus to Arvada. It's much better than being at the old Bernards and the mortuary there, and the final development is absolutely incredible. It's an asset to the community. It's an asset to the region. So thank you.
Well, and thank you, and I certainly couldn't have, well, thank you. Thank you. You know, we couldn't have done it in Arvada without the support of City Council. And I always told Mark that he left his mark with Red Rocks Community College. And I have to say that I've been very pleased. I have a lot of people here that are part of my community that has made it easy for me to do my job. And, you know, Mark, it's been a long road, hasn't it?
It
Yeah.
has.
I was thinking we started on a chamber board together
we did.
many years ago, and I just love the fact that Arvada has stood up for education, and I really, really appreciate that. So we went from a mortuary to a cadaver lab, which was really a good move. So thank you all again, and thank you for this presentation. You know,
Now,
so
will you put it on your Facebook post?
I promise.
Okay, good.
You know, so thank you, Mark, very, very much. Appreciate
Proud.
that. All right, thank you. Thank you all.
Very good, and we do have another recognition tonight, and Councilmember Marriott will present this one.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. I'm here to recognize the Macron Select basketball team, and I see a bunch of players in the audience. Why don't you guys all come on down to the podium with your coach or coaches? The Macron Select 14 and under girls basketball team is part of the B&B Basketball Academy, which is made up of players from Arvada and the surrounding area. The team recently traveled to Slovenia and Italy to participate in an International Basketball Academy showcase where they represented the United States and the city of Arvada. Macron Select is led by Coach George Grininci, who takes pride in his players excelling athletically, academically, and by serving as leaders in their schools and their communities. The team was hosted by the mayor of Cisnja, Slovenia, before they competed against the 17 and under Slovenian national team. Macron Select is currently planning a return to Europe next summer, where they will compete against Croatia, Bosnia, and Slovenia in a weekend tournament. The City of Arvada proudly recognizes the Macron Select team in their work of international competition as Arvada ambassadors. And I will bring down this recognition that says, in recognition of being Arvada's ambassadors by representing Arvada and the United States in the International Basketball Academy in Italy and Slovenia. Signed by all members of council and Mayor Williams today.
Good. And if any parents or anybody with cameras would like to come down, they can certainly come down and get pictures down here.
Thank you, Mayor Williams and City Council members for having us here this evening. Mayor, I was going to wear my yellow jacket, but my wife said no.
You should have.
Yeah. But no, as Councilmember Marriott mentioned, these girls are a special group of girls that were selected not just because of their basketball abilities, but because of who they represent in their communities and their schools. All straight A students, 4.0 students, represented Arvada in the United States very proudly, made me proud. I had 13 girls. I felt like I had 13 daughters on that trip, and it was pretty amazing. And I just thank you for this acknowledgement, and we greatly appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be back next year after we get back from Croatia. And I'd like to also, on behalf of my assistant coach, Kenny Queen, and a couple of our moms, where'd they go? They were our chaperones, Diana Lampert, Liz Herms. We thank you from our bottom of our hearts, and I'd like to have the girls just come up and say a word or two, introduce themselves.
That'd be great.
Thank you again.
You bet.
Hi, my name is Finley Queen. I'm a freshman at Forge Christian High School. I just want to thank you guys so much for having us tonight.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Pfeiffer. I'm an 8th grader, but I'll attend Ralston Valley. Thank you guys so much for having us. Hi, I'm Grace Sheely. I'm an 8th grader at Drake, but I'm going to be going to A West. I want to thank you guys for having us. It's a great opportunity.
Hi, Hi, I'm Giada Lampert. I'm an 8th grader at Devlin, and I'm going to Devlin for high school, and I would just say thank you so much for having us.
Hi, I'm Alexis Mays. I'm a freshman at Arvada West, and I just want to say thank you so much for this amazing opportunity.
Hi, I'm Ella Gurkinich. I'm an 8th grader at Drake, and I'll be attending A West. And thank you for having us.
Hi, my name's Alexa Rose. I'll be at RV and Ralston Valley, and I just wanted to say thank you for having us.
Hi, my name is Hazel Hermes. I currently attend Devlin Junior Senior High School, and I just want to thank you for this opportunity.
And I'm Coach Kenny Queen. I appreciate you guys having us here, and I just want to thank George publicly. George, if you've seen Macron, if you've been to an Edge, soccer field or any of the B&B academies, this is the company that sponsored this trip, and George is kind of the head of that for North America, and so I'm really thankful that he was able to help us sponsor this trip and just give these girls an opportunity to experience another country, 2 countries actually, and just the experience they got out of seeing what the rest of the world lives like. It's a great experience for them. So, and we got to play some fun basketball and try some new experiences, new food and things like that. But again, thanks George for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Mayor Williams, I will be back in about 6 months pitching you on a distribution center based in Arvada.
Very good. Okay, thank you all very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Get you to come down. We missed a photo opportunity with Dr. Haney.
Oh.
And I want to make sure we capture that.
After all, I did get dressed for the occasion.
Since he's all dressed up, it would be
And
very
no place to go, I know. Let's turn this around so
nice.
that,
So you can see it?
yeah.
Okay.
And you'll need it in the Facebook page. Yes, good. Great.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lori.
Quickly, excuse me. Do that. Let's just do it in front of council.
Wow, thanks for including us.
You bet, God.
Let's us 3 over here.
Well, it is a basketball team.
Yeah. Good job, fellow tall girls.
Okay, it's now time for public comment. I have one person signed up for public comment. Tonight's public comment portion, like on all nights, is an opportunity for you to tell us what's on your mind, what your issues are. It's not an opportunity for us to get into a debate with you or to have a back and forth conversation, but if there's issues that you raise that need response from the city team, they will certainly get back to you. That's why we use these sign-up sheets, so we've got your information. I have one individual signed up, and it's James, is it Cullison? Sir, if you'll come on up, and I understand you may want to speak 3 minutes now, and if you want to stick around until the end of the meeting, you can speak another 5 minutes then.
Hello, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm glad to see Arvada still has a functioning and accountable city council. So it's quite dazzling, frankly. Yeah, I would like to take this 3 minutes, and I'm quite verbose anymore, maybe take another 5 minutes later, but anyway, my name is Jim Sillison. I have a few notes. I'll just go through my notes, so try to hit my high points. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sure can.
Thank you. So, at any rate, I'm the president, Interstate Electrical Contractors Incorporated. You don't see us around here much. In fact, you don't even much see us in Colorado. We have a lot of jobs in Texas. And at any rate, our office is in Arvada at 12725 West 54th Drive. We built the building there about 6 years ago. My wife, Joyce, and I live in Rainbow Ridge. We have for 32 years. You may not know where Rainbow Ridge is because Arvada has changed so much, but it's at Ward and 54th, more or less, Arvada. So we have business and our life ties to Arvada. I have two issues, or they're kind of intertwined, maybe one issue, but we had a break-in, a burglary at our office warehouse in April of last year, of 2022. I've checked on it a number of times with the police department, as recently as this week, or in the last few days, I don't know. And the case number, I had to give them the case number because they didn't know it. So I do have the case number. It's AR 22 and then 006274. It goes back till April of 2022, and we had a pretty bad break-in at our office warehouse. For whatever reason, our security system didn't work because the Comcast was down that night, and I always found that kind of suspicious, so apparently nothing ever came of that. But we have, our video system did work. There were 3 people for hours inside of our office. They stole 2 trucks, a trailer, broke down our fence, busted windows, did this, did that, and everything else. So it's very disruptive. It cost us about $70,000. Most of that was insurance. That was direct damage, but also business disruption. I only have 1 second left. Oh, dear.
Sir, I'm going to take privilege and let you go ahead and complete. I'll let you go another 4 minutes or so. Can you get it done then?
Okay.
Rather than having to stick around.
At any rate, at the time, the police department told us that, well, there's a ring operating in this area, and they wanted to wait and catch them all because they kind of thought they knew who they were and everything else. So this has gone on a year and a half, and I hear the same stories, and now I'm hearing nothing, like can't even find the case. So that's my concern is, and frankly, at one point we heard, well, there's only $70,000, you have insurance. Well, to me, that's not the point. The point is that we were burglarized, there was a lot of money, and somehow the insurance company doesn't pay for it. In the end, we pay the premium. So, at any rate, what's the resolution of that? I would like to know on that case what's going on. The world, as we all know, is very disruptive right now, to say the least. But that's my question: is what's the resolution of that situation? And so that kind of ties into the whole idea of Arvada. I moved here in 1965. Arvada was a bedroom community. Everybody said Arvada, that's a bedroom community. Why? Because there's single-family homes and not much commercial activity and everything else. So Arvada has changed, and I don't know that it's for the better. It's an apartment community now. As I said, we live in Rainbow Ridge. Immediately east of us is Haskins Station, 66 acres. They've been building this thing for 4 years. I'm not kidding, 4 years. Right next to us, at one point they had scrapers 15 feet from my property line going down 15 feet. The dirt work went on a year, the utilities a year, and now they're still building there, and no end. At 58th, right here on 58th by McDonald's, what a huge complex. On Ward Road, there's two complexes up and down Ward Road. 52nd and Tabor, etc. So all of these are real close to us. And they don't have much walking room or park area. I don't know what kids do for recreation, running around. When I was a kid, you can have some room, but so the people are through our neighborhoods, and they sure like their dogs. I must say they clean up pretty good, and it's just everywhere it's got to be. And then I know the theft. If your police records are checked, I'm pretty sure they're going to show a lot more theft in Rainbow Ridge and around these areas of burglaries, car thefts, this and that, and everything else. And there even was a shooting in Rainbow Ridge, as I understand it, a month or two ago. I see these transients, whatever you want to call them, and they're carts. Why isn't it a crime to steal a cart? If I was Walmart and these guys, they got lots of money. Well, I don't care. That's not right. And they just parade around, make a mess, and we see these makeshift tarps and stuff. The other day we go to dinner over there by Three Margaritas and the Target, and they're just, it's terrible. So that's my second thing is, I think the developments are overdone. You're doing too many, and you've let too many go. And we need more police vigilance. And I'm really worried and thinking about there used to be these vagrancy laws, and I don't want us to become like Denver or these other places that we see about. So those basically are my two things. I'd like my burglary case information. Why can't they go to jail, somebody? And then I really would like restraint on more development everywhere you turn. We have right next to our property, they want to buy and develop that one too, on the west side of us. So that's it. I know you need to check this all out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then I have Wilma Curie,
I'm sorry?
the next person coming up to speak.
Good evening. My name is Wilma Curry, and I have some, I was wondering who's paying for all that on 58th with the little islands there for the flowers or whatnot?
Again,
By the Sinclair station. They poured it, it cracked, they tore it apart, they poured it again, it cracked. So 3 times they have poured that. So is my tax dollars going to the 3 times they had to pour that? Or what's going on with that? Second one, this trash business. I thought United States was a democracy. We could choose and stuff. You guys didn't let us choose for what trash company we wanted. And then not too long ago, you chose to raise it. And even the ones that opted out, I opted out. And now you're raising it. And, you know, that's totally wrong. Totally wrong. I've lived in Arvada for a real long time. My family homesteaded Colorado. This is, like I say, like he says, it's out of control. 63 townhomes are going to go up across from me. 63. And the cars drive by there on that street fast, a lot. And so it's like you're going to add 120, each of them are going to have 2-car garages. So might as well say 120 cars more on the road there. Tax dollars, right? Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have anybody on Zoom? Is there anybody else that would like to address City Council at this time? With that, I'll close the public comment portion, and we'll move on to our new business. First is the consent agenda. We've got several items. The first is a resolution adopting the amended administrative fee schedule for building safety division permits and services pursuant to Chapter 18, Building and Building Regulations of the Arvada City Code. The next one is a resolution adopting the amended fee schedule for land use pursuant to Chapter 74, Planning and Development of the Arvada City Code. The next is a resolution adopting the amended fee schedule for rights-of-way work permits and services pursuant to Chapter 78, Public Improvements of the Arvada City Code. The next is a resolution authorizing an agreement by and between the City of Arvada and AGL Construction Company for services related to the Utilities Service Line Investigation and Replacement Program in an amount not to exceed $640,000 for all Phase 1 services. The next one is a resolution authorizing a change order number 2 to an agreement by and between the City of Arvada and Yultig Operations LLC for owners' representative services for the West 72nd Avenue, Kipling Street to Sim Street project in an amount not to exceed $2,086,000 for a revised total contract amount not to exceed $2,614,519. The last consent item tonight is a resolution authorizing a 4-month extension of 2 leases by and between the City of Arvada and the United States Postal Service for lease of the building at 5885 Allison Street and for lease of the parking lot at 5886 Ammons Street. Mr. Marion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that consent agenda items are 23-084, 23-085, 23-086, 23-087, 23-088, and 23-089 all be approved.
Motions for approval of the consent agenda. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0 with Mr. Jones being an excused absence. Thank you. We have 2 resolutions tonight. The first one is R-23-090, a resolution authorizing the Third Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement by and between the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District, doing business as Mile High Flood District, and the City of Arvada for final design, right-of-way acquisition, and construction of drainage and flood control improvements for Ralston Creek at Croak Canal. And Melanie Walter, our engineering manager, is going to make this presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you stated, this is the Third Amendment for the intergovernmental agreement with Mile High Flood District for the final design and construction for the drainage and flood control improvement for Ralston Creek at Croak Canal Crossing. The main goals of this project are to increase the flood carrying capacity of Ralston Creek and to keep floodwater separate from irrigation waters.
Do we have any questions or action? Ms. Ferre?
I'll make the motion.
You may proceed.
All right, I move that R-23-090, a resolution authorizing the Third Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement by and between the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District D/B/A Mile High Flood District and the City of Arvada for final design, right-of-way acquisition, and construction of drainage and flood control improvements for Ralston Creek at Croak Canal be approved.
Motions for approval. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0, Mr. Jones being an excused absence. Our second resolution tonight is R-23-091, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District, doing business as Mile High Flood District, and the City of Arvada regarding design and construction of drainage and flood control improvements for Van Bibber Creek from Oak Street to Kipling Parkway. And again, Melanie Walter, engineering manager, is going to make this presentation as well.
Thank you. I did this on purpose, so we had 2 at once, so I got to speak twice.
There you go.
So good evening again. Council action is requested on the attached resolution authorizing the intergovernmental agreement between Mile High Flood District and the City of Arvada regarding the funding of the design and construction of drainage and flood control improvement for Van Bibber Creek from Oak to Kipling. Mile High Flood District has requested city participation in this jointly funded capital project to address the potential flood risk to West 58th Avenue, as well as protect the surrounding private property. This IGA will provide the first installment of a multi-year contribution to the design and construction of these improvements.
Very good. Council, questions or actions? I've got Ms. Simpson first.
I'll make the motion if there are no questions.
You may proceed.
All right. I move that R-23-091, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District, doing business as Mile High Flood District, and the City of Arvada regarding design and construction of drainage and flood control improvements for Van Bibber Creek from Oak Street to Kipling Parkway be approved.
Motion's for approval. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0 with Mr. Jones being an excused absence. Thank you. We do not have any first readings, which is good since Mr. Jones isn't here tonight. We'll move on into public hearings. I'll open the public hearing on Council Bill 23025, an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 102, Utilities of the Arvada City Code pertaining to water users' rates and bi-monthly service charges. And Sharon Israel will be Director of Utilities when we're making this presentation.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor, members of Council. This is one of two ordinances before the City Council that adjust water, sewer, and stormwater rates and bi-monthly service fees for 2024. The 2024 rate and fee recommendations were discussed with the Council at the September 18th and October 9th workshops, and the two ordinances were approved on first reading on October 2nd. The City team is proposing to increase in-city single-family water rates by 12%, and bi-monthly service fees by $4 for 2024. In addition, the City team is proposing to increase in-city single-family wastewater rates by 12% and a bi-monthly service fee by $2 for 2024. And the proposed increase to stormwater rates is 5%. The total impact to a typical single-family home's utility bill is estimated at $130.20 per year, or about $10.85 per month. The city's infrastructure work system continues to prepare for investments in operations and infrastructure as part of our ongoing commitment to continue to provide reliable water, sewer, and stormwater drainage services to our community. This work supports the 2020 to 2025 City Council strategic plan that calls for updated master plans for water, sewer, and stormwater, as well as an implementation plan and budget recommendations. The city's team recommendation for the 2024 adjustments to the water and sewer and stormwater rate and fee schedule also aligns with the principle that the city maintains utility rates at the lowest practical levels. We also heard City Council direction at the last two workshops to do more to promote our affordability programs and increase communications and outreach to support our customers that may need assistance paying their water bill. We are taking steps to do that in the months ahead. These two ordinances will support sustainable funding for high-quality and reliable utility services for the Arvada community, and the Arvada team recommends their approval.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public that would like to address City Council on this matter? The water rates first. Ma'am, you may come back down and speak.
I just have a question of what are you using the money for that you get for having that special trash company come through Arvada? Because you get so much percentage from them?
Ma'am, none of that money goes to the water and wastewater are both enterprises of the city.
Okay.
And so
it was, when I first came, it was every 3 months when we had to pay a bill. It's not that anymore. It's just like, yeah, I'm getting very discouraged with Arvada. And then that's sad. It's my hometown.
Appreciate your comments, ma'am. Anybody else like to address City Council on this matter? And again, we have nobody on Zoom. Okay, I'll close the public testimony portion and open it up for City Council questions and actions. I'll note that Mr. Mormon has reserved the motion. Mr. Marriott.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have a question. So this water rate increase, it's an increase in the water rate in two ways. One is a service fee increase and one is a water rate increase. And the two together look like they're going to generate 4.7 or just under $4.8 million. Could you break down to us what portion of that is attributable to the service fee increase and what portion is attributable to the rate increase?
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Marriott. You're correct. We're estimating new water revenue at $4.78 million. 30% of that is estimated to be from the fixed fee adjustment. That's about $1.4 million. And then 70% of that is from that volumetric rate adjustment, and that's about $3.3 million.
And so if the additional question I would have would be if the rate increase instead of being 12% were 10%, what would that change the 70% number to?
That number would be reduced by about $550,000.
Okay, so 2.8 or so, somewhere in there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Very good. Ms. Simpson?
Actually, just to follow up on Mr. Marriott's questioning, if we were to take that reduction, what would that translate to budgetarily for average household?
If the water rate were adjusted to 10% increase instead of 12%, it's about 75 cents per month.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
I should have asked this on the last one, but when you said the average bill for a single family, what tier of water are you basing that on?
We use a 95,000 gallon per year typical usage, and it's higher in the summer months and lower in the winter months, assuming irrigation. In that model, it's all tier 1.
So it's all tier 1, and in the model, but what is the average uses? I mean, that.
We've got a range of household sizes, as you're aware, but 95,000 is a pretty typical number for us.
95,000 for the year?
That's right. And again, we bill by monthly, and so in those summer months, we don't, in the model, we don't typically see folks exceeding the tier 1 for the 2-month period.
But you don't know what percentage actually goes over, because I wish we had what the true average was versus just where did you get this number of 95,000? Maybe that's what I need to.
We've modeled several different typical homes. We're happy to provide just some additional information on what the impacts are to different tiers of usage. 95,000 has been our typical for in past years.
And it's each tier is 30. What is it, 30,000 every 2 months or something like that?
Yes, the first tier is 30,000.
So 95 for the full year?
That's right.
Okay, so 30,000 for the first tier, 30,000 for the second tier, if I recall correctly. I just got my water bill and I was really shocked. So now I know. Because
thank you. So in the winter months, we estimate between $8,000 and $9,000 gallon water use for each of those 2 bi-monthly periods. The peak water use months are May and June. We estimate 26,000 gallons, and July and August we estimate 27,000 gallons. So just gives you an idea of again that peak. But at 27,000 gallons for the July-August estimate, that does not exceed the black one of 30,000.
But you must have an average that somebody uses annually, don't you? Across all the customer base, you should know how many gallons divided by how many households.
Excuse me a second. So the average residential usage across all households is 96,000 gallons for the year.
Okay, I'd like more data on that down the road, but
absolutely
not tonight, because I hate to say this out loud, but I used 60,000 the last 2 months. Yeah, sorry. I think it's 30. Well, I have a big family, and I have to look at that, but that's 2 months. That was a $400 and some odd bill I got. So I got to figure out what happened. So unfortunately for this hearing, I just got this the other day, so of course my mouth dropped when I saw that. So when I look at the percentages of increase, you have somebody on the low end and the high end. I will tell you, I probably doubled or tripled that number by this year. I'm a little nervous about that.
We'd be happy to talk with you personally about your water bill and also to provide you
assistance.
We do look at the different categories. I'm not prepared to present that tonight, but happy to come back with you to council with that information.
Okay. have 3 boys that take 10 showers.
Do you have any other council questions? Seeing none, Mr. Mormon?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make the motion. I do like to make a comment following that, if I may.
Yes.
I move that CB 23-025, an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 102 Utilities of the Arvada City Code pertaining to water user rates and bi-monthly service charges be approved on final reading numbered 4858 and ordered published by title only. I think that on my 2 years serving on council, looking at increasing water rates, this is our second time that I've had to make that decision as a council member, and it's not an easy decision because I know and I'm fully aware of inflation and how that's impacting all of us right now, and that the increases that we make on water rates will also, or sewer and stormwater as well, on these utilities impact our residents in different ways. And so it's a very difficult decision to be keeping that in mind at the same time about thinking what is the future of our infrastructure and how do we maintain the level of service that our residents expect us to do. And you know, I've had many conversations with residents about this very thing and you know, talking about the tour and everything that we have as a council have seen, thanks to our staff, our team, of really walking through and showing us what is going on with our infrastructure that was built between the 60s and the 80s and now is coming well past its end of life. And just in the last years, we saw at our workshop, the system failures that we had just up to this date in 2023 is alarming to me and very concerning of what could happen in the next months, in the next couple of years, if we don't take appropriate action. And that's my biggest concern right now, is to continue to make sure that our residents have clean water, safe drinking water, that we continue to treat our wastewater and our stormwater so that we can be safe and provide a safe environment for our community. And so it is a very difficult decision to make, but I take it seriously and realize that we need to make sure we are forward-thinking and planning for today and well into the future. And I'm very, very appreciative of our team that has done all the work that they have to really do the analysis that's necessary and to do the planning that's necessary so that we don't end up like some of our neighboring communities that have really been in a pickle when it comes to raising rates that are so high that become, you know, very, very problematic. And so trying to avoid that and balancing that with making the right decisions now so that we can have the safe infrastructure that we need. So I really appreciate all of that analysis. You know, you came to us and initially said the experts recommend a 25% increase, and you did the hard work of figuring out what it was we needed to do to lower that to 12% to continue, again, to make sure that we have the safe, you know, and the infrastructure repairs and replacement that we need to do now and going to the future. So I, again, applaud all that work, and I know that your team really put a lot into that, and I appreciate that. So thank you. And so with that, I will be a yes vote.
Mr. Marriott.
Thank you, Your Honor. So as I looked at this, this was as Mr. Mormon said, a difficult subject, difficult vote to take here. You know, as we've studied this over the course of more than a year, as we've developed these master plans, we looked at different courses of action, different roadmaps, if you will, in how to get to where we, to take care of our infrastructure that we have, as well as meet our future needs. And I think the team's done a really good job of that. And I think from a viewpoint of looking at what puts the pieces in place, I think we've done a terrific job of that. I think the place that we need to be very careful is looking at this from the flip side, which is the customer side, the people who actually are going to pay for this, because we're all going to pay our very small part, Mr. Pfeiffer more than the rest of us apparently, but we're all going to pay a very, very tiny part, but the people are going to pay the rest. And I think we need to be very careful to keep their interests in mind too. I originally was inclined to suggest that we trim that increase back a little bit. However, I've decided not to do that just because we're early in this model. Taking money out of the model early has larger consequences as you get down towards the end. So I think for this year, I'm going to vote yes as well on the recommended increase. But I would say this. I think it's important as we go forward with this. This will be an annual event, as it has been every year I've been here on City Council. I would like us to be very careful at looking at, along the way, places where we get things that fall in our favor. Like this year, our rate increase from Denver Water was very much less than it had been in the past. And the beneficiaries of that should be the residents who pay the water bills, and so we need to keep that in mind. I also want us to think about our infrastructure plan and our model as we go down through the plan with an eye towards, both what can we do to put our system in the shape it needs to be, but also do it in a way that affects our citizens as lightly as possible. And so if that means as we move forward in the plan, some things get stretched out a little bit that are not critical that it be done now, that we do that. I would also expect that in future years, as we look at these, I would certainly like to see us end up with a plan that goes far enough out into the future where we see, we've got this bubble of infrastructure needs that we're paying for with bigger rate increases, but at some point, our rate increases cannot go on like that forever. They have to return to a nearly inflationary number, and in the stuff we saw this year, we never saw that, and I'd like to see that as we go forward. The scary thing about these rates and this service fee increase is this is going to cause a doubling of people's water bill in under 6 years, and it'll double again in the next less than 6 years. And I think we need to be careful, really, really careful, that that's not the outcome that we're for sure putting in place, and that we keep in mind as we go forward that's not the outcome that we want. So with that, it's a very long-winded way of saying this time I'm going to vote for Mr. Moorman's motion, just with the little bit of misgivings and thoughts going forward of kind of how we look at this as we go forward from here.
Thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer.
Like I said at the hearing or at the workshop, it is up to council to do the adjustments and make the dial adjustments year over year. And we're making an adjustment for this year and only this year, and we're not making it for future years. So I would echo a few things that Mr. Marriott said as well. We've got to lean forward on this, and I get that there's issues, but I would strongly encourage the team to look at ways, don't go for the percentage, but the dollar amount needed to do the job, because when we saw the 10-year projections, it looked like it was just a percentage that was given, and that's how you get the doubling effect that Mr. Marriott's referring to. And I worry, for folks that will pay double or triple what they're paying. I mean, you're looking at me, it could be $1,200 in 2 months. There's no way I would afford that. But we need to make sure that you understand that we look at new ideas and new ways to be innovative, as well as finding ways to get funding or grant money from the feds and so forth. I don't see too many grants coming in around the infrastructure, and we seem to be wanting to self-fund this. So I think the best thing for staff is to assume that you may not get an inflationary type adjustment, 3%, 4%, 5%. That might be the most you get. So you should strive over the next calendar year to look for as many grants to help lower the blow to our citizens. So I just find new innovative ways to find funding, because I can't speak for what could happen next year. It could be a whole different council up here.
Ms. Simpson?
I just echo those comments as well. Thank you.
Ms. Ferre?
Yes, just want to make note that our storms are getting stronger and they're getting more frequent. And while this might be a sticker shock to a lot of our residents, it's nothing in comparison of what we would do if we're responsive or reactive to our water system. So I think that while it is a big blow, it is a big increase, looking at it holistically in a bigger picture, it would be much more detrimental if we don't do enough of this work and repair on the front end as these storms come in. So I will also be voting yes.
You know, this will be my 24th time to address the issue of water and sewer rates. I'm going to make a suggestion that in future years you try to move this issue as far away from election season as possible, because it can become a political issue. It can become something that where politics overrules common sense. That's certainly not happening with this council tonight, and I applaud the council for their position on this, that they're not being driven by what might look best in the paper or whatever. Over the years, frankly, I don't think we had the kind of information that we've gotten in the last couple of years in terms of both our water needs and our sewer line and stormwater needs to really make sure we maintain the system. We received a lot of information in workshops on this that was very good information. I always find it interesting that in terms of public engagement over the budget and over the water rates and sewer rates, that we have virtually no one in attendance to discuss those or to express concern. And I have to take that, frankly, as an indication that we're doing okay on it and that the citizens believe that we are appropriate stewards in terms of these rates and how we're expending the funds that are used. We've got to take lasting care of our infrastructure. This is a big hit. Without question, there's going to be a need for a new water treatment plant that's being factored into this. You can't just keep kicking the can down the road with more modest increases. But the reality is, and where we continue to be, is that when you look at us compared to our surrounding communities, we're not the highest, we may not be the lowest, but we're, I think, in the middle where we belong in terms of these expenditures. And, all the cities have to deal with the same kind of issues and expenditures, so I don't think we're being out of line in terms of, even with this increase, that it's putting us out of where we ought to be. So I will likewise be supporting the motion. Ma'am, this is not appropriate. Thank you. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0, Mr. Jones being an excused absence. Thank you. Next, I'll open the public hearing on Council Bill 25026, an ordinance amending Section 102-206 of Chapter 102 Utilities of the Arvada City Code pertaining to wastewater user rates and bi-monthly service charges, in Section 102-355 of Chapter 102 Utilities of the Arvada City Code pertaining to stormwater user rates. And Ms. Israel, you've pretty much made your presentation on this already, correct?
Yes, thank you. I have no additional remarks.
Fair enough. I'll open it up for any public comment at this time. We are no public comment requested, therefore I'll close the public comment portion. Mr. Pfeiffer?
If there's not any questions, I'll make the motion. I move that Council Bill 23-026, an ordinance amending Section 102-206 of Chapter 102 Utilities of the Arvada City Code pertaining to wastewater user rates and bi-monthly service charges, and Section 102-355 of Chapter 102 Utilities of the Arvada City Code pertaining to stormwater users rates be approved on final reading number 4859 and ordered published by title only.
Mr. Pfeiffer? I'm sorry, Mr. Marriott.
Thank you. I just want to make a quick comment. I would echo many of the comments I made about the water. I will note that on the wastewater side, we have a little less control because we don't actually treat that water, unlike the supply side where we do. Also, the typical wastewater charge on a customer's bill is much smaller than the water charge. And so the increase doesn't have as big a total dollar increase to them, so I'm not quite as concerned about this. But I would put forth the same advice for the team, that as you move forward, to consider your plan, but consider the people who will be paying for the plan, and try to make really good decisions there. So I'll be voting yes as well.
Motions for approval? All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Mr. Jones being an excused absence on this. I do want to commend the team. Obviously, you put a lot of work into this. You answered all the questions that City Council had during our various workshops and study sessions on this. Again, the fact that instead of having a 25% rate increase, you really did figure out ways to bring it down to a reasonable amount, or as reasonable as can be expected under the circumstances. So thank you to the team for that. With that, I will now open the public hearing on Council Bill 23027, an ordinance appropriating funds for fiscal year 2024. And Mr. Archer, Director of Finance and proud graduate of Colorado State University, who I've given a lot of grief for, but they sure looked a lot better in football than my alma mater did here recently. So,
Mr. Mayor, we're going to go ahead and ship this one to me.
Okay.
It did say, Mr. Archer, I also went to CSU, though, if that helps at all. So, okay, we'll start with the budget, with some background information. The budget presentation began in June with presentation of 10-year models. The budget was delivered to council on September 1st and available on the website on September 5th. It's been out there a while. It's over a 300-page document. Presentations were in September with a workshop on September 25th. First reading was October 2nd with a public hearing tonight. This is a proposed revised budget. It's the second year of a 2-year budget. It is aligned with City Council's strategic plan. It's in compliance with Arvada's budget and fiscal policy. In the development of this budget, the considerations were financial resilience, planning for sustainable services into the future. We put people first, supporting retention, development, and a quality culture. We looked at our projects. We want to complete the planned projects and what's in play. We also want to follow our master plans. The budget is developed around that. We are also advancing the initiatives of sustainability, housing, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Again, this is the second year of a biennial budget. The team really limited requests. We didn't want to change the budget significantly from last year. For pay increases, all in, a total of a 5.23 increase. Again, taking care of what we have. The mayor referred to taking lasting care. That's been challenging with inflation and other increased costs. The total appropriation included in this budget is $387 million. The general fund of $125 million. It's been on our website for a couple months.
okay, open it up for public comment. Anybody want to address us on the budget? Seeing no one, I'll close the public comment portion. Open it up for City Council questions or actions. Ms. Simpson,
I'll take the motion if there are no questions.
you may proceed.
I move that CB 23-027, an ordinance appropriating funds for fiscal year 2024, be approved on final reading, number 4860, and ordered published by title only.
Motions for approval. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Mr. Jones being an excused absence. If you want to go ahead with the other resolutions.
One second, let me just pull up the next page. All right. I move that CB 23-028, an ordinance.
No. We have 3 resolutions under
Sorry,
that council bill.
my mistake.
You got it?
Yeah, one second. Yep. Resolutions. Sorry, no, they're not pulling up.
You know, if you just go back to the agenda, you can pull it off of that.
All right, thanks. There we go. All right. Resolution 1, R23-092, a resolution adopting the budget for fiscal year 2024 be approved.
Hang on. I think by now I know how to run the buttons. All votes cast. That passes 6-0. Mr. Jones being an excused absence.
All right. Resolution number 2, R23-093, a resolution adopting the 2024 Capital Improvement Fund budget and allocating for specific projects in 2024 be approved.
Votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Mr. Jones being an excused absence.
And finally, R23-094, a resolution adopting the pay plan for fiscal year 2024 be approved.
Pay plan. All votes are cast. That is approved as well, passing 6-0. Mr. Jones being an excused absence. Next, I'll open the public hearing on Council Bill 23028, an ordinance certifying the City of Arvada mill levy for 2023 for the Board of County Commissioners for Jefferson and Adams counties. Mr. Archer, now it's your turn.
Yes, thank you very much. This ordinance is asking to certify the city's mill levy for the valuation year of 2023. The city is located in 2 counties, Jefferson County and Adams County. The mill levy is 4.31 mills, and this has not changed from the previous year. In fact, it has not changed since the early 90s. And we are asking council to certify that mill levy. As you are well aware, there will be a ballot issue this fall, Proposition HH. This budget was prepared assuming Proposition HH would not pass. We took the minimum amount of increase that we were allowed, which is a 5.7% increase, which includes the CPI from the previous year, plus our estimated growth percentage for the budget. Once we know further about that ballot issue, we will be back to City Council on how that will affect this overall budget.
Is there any member of the public that would like to address City Council on the study of the mill levy? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion, open it up to City Council questions or actions. Mr. Pfeiffer?
Make the motion if there's no questions.
You may proceed.
I move that Council Bill 23-028, an ordinance certifying the City of Arvada mill levy for 2023 for the Board of County Commissioners for Jefferson and Adams County be approved on final reading number 4861 and ordered published by title only.
Motions for approval of the certification. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Mr. Jones being an excused absence. Thank you. And finally, I'll open the public hearing on Council Bill 23029, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Chapter 70 Personnel Rules of the Arvada City Code. And Gabriella Bomber, our Director of Human Resources, will make this presentation.
Thank you, Mayor Williams and members of council. The updates to the city's personnel rules are being made to comply with recent amendments to state law. The first reading of the ordinance was approved on October 9th, and we had a very thorough discussion about this at last week's workshop, in which I believe we were able to address many of your questions. If you have any further questions for me tonight, I'll be happy to take those. The Arvada team recommends approval of the personnel rules updates in the ordinance in order to stay compliant with employment law and to continue to further our employer of choice workplace. Thank you.
Very good. Is there any member of the public who'd like to address the City Council with regard to our personnel rules? Seeing none, I'll close that public comment portion. City Council questions or action? Ms. Ferre.
I'll make the motion.
You may proceed.
All right. I move that CB 23-029, an ordinance repealing and reenacting Chapter 70 Personnel Rules of the Arvada City Code, be approved on final reading numbered 4862 and ordered published by title only.
Mr. Mormon.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a quick comment and appreciate the work that the team has done on this. I was concerned about how we would meet or exceed family when we decided not to opt into that. And I think you've done an amazing job, and I appreciate the analysis you provided last week and showing that, and I feel confident that we will meet and exceed those expectations and hopefully meet all the needs of our wonderful team at the city. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And Mr. Marriott, if you'll cast your vote. Very good. All votes are cast. That passes 6-0. Mr. Jones being an excused absence. That concludes our public hearings. We do have the public comment portion. Sir, I already afforded you your time. Ma'am, did you wish to speak to City Council again tonight? Thank you. So, reports from City Council. Ms. Simpson?
Thank you. So the Arvada Center for the Arts and Humanities just wrapped its fall musical, Beautiful. If you didn't get a chance to see it, I'm so sorry you missed out. It was phenomenal. Even my husband, who hates musicals, really enjoyed it. So they did an awesome job. Currently, the Laramie Project is playing. That's a very important show. It's, for those of you unfamiliar, it's about the community reaction after the Matthew Shepard murder. And so highly recommend people go see that. It's a very powerful production. And then thankfully, we'll have a very fun holiday show again this year. Coming in a few weeks now, Cinderella will debut as the holiday show.
Great. Mr. Mormon?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce that I'll be having my regular coffee chat on Friday, October 27th from 2 to 3:30 at the Sweet Bloom Cafe up on Wadsworth and 77th.
Very good. About a week and a half ago, Arvada lost someone who was very important to me and was very important to this community. Alan Parker, who we recognized this year for his 10 years of service on the Arvada Urban Renewal Board, passed away, initially misdiagnosed, but ultimately diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. He was a champion for Arvada. He was a co-founder of the Arvada Economic Development Association, served on its retention committee for a number of years, received the Manley Gray Award. Manley was a guy who showed up at every ribbon cutting for years and years and years, and so an award was named after him, and Alan received that award back in 2014. Alan did just complete his 10 years of service on the Urban Renewal Board during a time of, I think, great success for urban renewal with the projects that have been completed and are now currently underway. He was a close personal friend, someone who I respected for his commitment to the city, going all the way back to his banking days. He was a very successful banker with several banks here in our community. His wife, Shar, is grieving along with his son, and it's a tough time. The memorial service will be, a celebration of life will be held at a later date, and there'll be some information going out on that, but I wanted to acknowledge the passing of, I think, a true treasure of the city of Arvada. Ms. Simpson? I'm sorry, Ms. Gillis.
Thank you, Mayor. We will all miss Alan Parker, a great contributor. I also want to say thank you to Council for your engagement tonight and all your questions. We do get a lot of questions and try and meet your needs for what helps you make informed decisions. And I also want to thank the city team for the time that they spent. They have been on overtime getting all this done. It is our jobs, it is their jobs, but they take it very seriously, and they very much recognize the impact on the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Morris?
Nothing from me, Your Honor.
Very good. We stand adjourned.